He found out on the flight home that she'd slept with 5 black men. By the time they landed, his hands were shaking. Amidst the lies and rage, you won't believe what followed in the next 2 weeks. Mark and Rachel Thompson had been married for 8 years. They lived in a small town outside Columbus, Ohio. Comfortable, quiet, maybe a little stuck. Mark worked long hours at the tire plant. He didn't talk much, but he always showed up. Rachel used to teach preschool, but lately she was taking time to reset. She missed spontaneity, excitement, and things Mark no longer gave her. When she suggested a Caribbean vacation, he saw it as a chance to reconnect. For a while, it worked. She laughed more, she danced. But after they got back, something felt off. Rachel had changed, and Mark started noticing everything. Just 2 nights after they got back, Rachel opened a bottle of wine, and then another. Mark was half asleep on the couch when she said it, like it was nothing. I slept with 5 guys. All locals. It was supposed to be fun. At first he laughed, thinking it was a joke. But she didn't. Instead, she leaned back, sipping, eyes fixed on the ceiling. Mark's chest tightened under the weight of humiliation, disbelief, and then rage. She called it freedom, an experience she needed, but he saw betrayal in every word. Now, although he didn't yell or hit her, something in him broke that night. He couldn't stop picturing it, over and over again. He waited until she went for a shower. Her phone was face down on the nightstand. Going through it, he found photos, videos, and messages saved in a group chat called Island Nights. It gutted him, but he scrolled through names. Elijah, Andre, and Trayvon. But one kept showing up more than the others. Jeron. It was sweet messages, inside jokes that got to his head, and the fact that she was still talking to him. Mark started writing everything down. Dates, screenshots, flight info, even timestamps. It was something deeper than cheating. He couldn't look at her the same. Every smile felt staged, and sleep became a stranger. She was texting again, fingers flying, eyes glowing, completely lost in her screen as Mark stood in the doorway, watching. Then came the soft laugh, not meant for him, but very real. "Who is it?" he asked, voice low. "Relax," she said as he stepped closer. "Let me see." She pulled the phone to her chest. "No." They stared at each other with tension thick. And then she said it. Calm, cruel, deliberate. "He made me feel more alive in one night than you have in 8 years. Mark didn't move. He couldn't. The rage sharpened into clarity, and now he needed a plan. 3 days later, he told Rachel he needed space, claimed he was visiting his brother in Denver. Instead, he booked a one-way ticket back to the island. The same resort welcomed him with open arms. Smiling staff, the same bar, the same view. But this time, Mark wasn't on vacation. He bought a gun from a man behind the fish market. Rough hands, no questions. He messaged Jeron. "No drama, just talk. I need to understand." Jeron agreed, said he'd bring a drink. Jeron showed, and the conversation lasted minutes. Calm at first, then heated. Jeron laughed. Mark pulled the gun, and in the blink of an eye, they were tangled before the shot echoed across the water. 2 days later, a fisherman spotted Jeron's body floating near the east dock. Face down, a single bullet through the chest. Locals called it gang-related, but the investigation moved quickly, and behind a dumpster near the marina, police found the murder weapon. Rusted, unregistered, and tossed carelessly. There were no cameras or witnesses, but there was a name in the resort's guest log. Mark Thompson, checked in 3 days earlier. When the ballistics report came back, It was over. His fingerprints were all over the weapon. It wasn't just a crime of passion anymore. It was premeditated. And Mark didn't even know they were closing in. Maybe he thought the ocean would bury everything. But the island remembered. And once the headlines hit, there was no hiding what he'd done. The trial drew national attention with headlines like, "Murder for Lust or Humiliation." Mark sat motionless, jaw clenched, as prosecutors laid it all out. Travel receipts, burner accounts, and a gun he thought no one would find. Rachel took the stand as her voice trembled as she said, "I never thought he'd actually do something." The courtroom watched her like a villain. The defense leaned on emotional insanity, claiming betrayal pushed Mark past the edge. But the prosecution showed intent, precision, a man who planned. Mark never testified, never even said a word. He just stared at Rachel until she stopped looking back. But after the verdict, the truth got even darker and far more complicated. Mark was sentenced to life without parole. There was no emotion or apology, just a long, hollow silence. Rachel didn't attend the sentencing as she'd already vanished. Changed her name, deleted everything, and disappeared like none of it ever happened. Online, the story exploded. Was it about race? Male pride? Emotional manipulation? Or just a broken man pushed too far? That's when the twist came. Investigators later discovered Rachel had lied about at least 2 names. Jeron, the man Mark killed, might never have touched her at all. What started as revenge now looked like a misfire. Mark lost his future, and he did it by taking the wrong man's life. Does betrayal justify murder? Let us know what you think.